This is Chris Hansen.
Chad doing Rip City Radio here.
It's your favorite basketball player, Tyler Hansbrough.
This is Jamie Hudson.
This is TJ Houshmandzadeh.
And I'm going to let y'all know something.
Duke sucks and Duke will always suck.
You're listening to
It Just Makes Sense.
It Just Makes Sense.
Listen, this podcast is not about being right. It's about being entertaining and sometimes right.
See if we're actually funny.
And I coast on our good looks. You know that.
Remember to type.
Yeah! Woo! I knew
got
Denzel's
Denzel.
lips anywhere. What was the incentive for Oregon at that point to be 13-0, to win their conference championship? Penn State is in a way better spot than Oregon is.
There's no answer. Someone's going to be unhappy. Someone's going to get fucked over. Yeah. There's always going to be complaints.
You're weak.
It's for entertainment, not investment purposes.
We're back. Clear eyes.
Full heart!
Can't lose.
Play like a champion! Yeah, of all the things that could get us canceled, what was literally just said, which will not air, won't get us canceled. But now you'll never know.
Oh, when you told us that you like dudes?
Oh, well.
That's okay, Peter.
Yeah, it's
2024,
yeah.
dude.
I know. If y'all aren't thinking that the Luigi Mangione isn't a thirst trap and a half, I might be writing a letter to him in jail. So that will anyone who listens to this years from now will know exactly what time of year.
The guy who killed the United.
Yeah, exactly.
Death penalty, or should he just be free?
I think he should be fucking free. He did everyone a favor.
Exactly. We might see.
Why was he even found? Like, why was he turned in?
There's a lot of
How did he get found? Because he was doing a great job there for a while. Nobody knew what the fuck was going on.
It can't be the Gen Z looking for him because everyone's on his side.
No, so what ended up happening was that he was found at a McDonald's in Pennsylvania. Altoona.
That's where all the murderers hang out?
So it was an older worker, by the way, who called the cops. But,
snitched is what it's called.
But so here's kind of what some people are speculating is that he was meant to be found. He wanted to be found in that moment. In talking about like the wage gap between like people who work at McDonald's versus like the person who runs McDonald's, and saying, hey, that person gets $50,000 for finding him. And he was just like in the McDonald's with all of his things, with his manifesto, with the gun, with the silencer. Like, it was clear that like it almost seemed intentional that he wanted
He's
to
modern day Robin Hood.
Exactly. So that's what a lot
Kill
of
the
people
rich
are.
and give to the poor.
Yep. So there you go. Anyways,
have you been here before?
yeah.
No, it's
First
my
time?
First time.
Yeah. Ever heard?
So I want to play a game with you
Yeah.
guys.
So Braxton wants to be a Joker and play a little game.
I do want to play a little game. I mean, it's not that great by any means, but I want to see. I got a new T-shirt, and I will give you a hint that it's like a movie poster.
Okay.
And I'm going to slowly raise it up and see if you guys can guess
Yes.
what it is.
For
we
those
get a
who are
hint
listening,
before?
No, it's a movie.
for those
that's
who
a
are
big hint.
listening, check us out at official IJMS on YouTube.
On the boob tube.
That's where you'll find us. Okay. And so you don't need your mic, right?
I don't think so.
Okay. I'll hold it just in case. I'll hold it this way. So you are slowly and kind of turn yourself a little bit. Come this way a little bit. Yeah. And turn yourself. All right. So he's at his belly button.
I can't see.
Nothing is happening yet. It's just black. Wait for it.
Blade.
Oh.
Trading Day.
No, Remember the Titans.
Remember to type.
Yeah! Woo! There it is.
Hey,
I
got
knew Denzel's-
I got fucking Denzel.
Denzel's lips anywhere.
I recognize Denzel
Yeah.
from the chin up.
Man, I needed the full lips, but yeah. That's
I guess
great.
Training Day would have shown a fucking chain. God
That's-
damn it.
Yeah, that's
You fucking idiot.
so dumb.
Whatever. I got the actor.
I was really thinking you'd get that one.
Yeah,
Man,
You should be ashamed, honestly.
kind of, because I feel like he teed me up.
halfway
for that.
ashamed. I mean, I got Denzel.
I-
got him then.
Yeah. I suppose I didn't say in Jeopardy format. So did I win or did I? What
We'll
is?
accept.
Yeah.
What I am as a team player, I care more about assists than scoring.
Wow. Great point.
Yeah. You
Great
teed me
point.
up.
Yeah, I found I succumbed to an Instagram ad,
Oh, gotcha.
and they have like this Soprano shirt where it's like kind of the Last Supper, but it's like Tony Soprano and all his goons
Sure,
and all the
yeah.
characters. And so I got one for Matt for Christmas.
Yeah.
Which, am I giving away his present? It's in the mail right
he
now.
is a P1. So
Yeah.
yeah, he's probably.
I think
listening.
it arrives on Thursday.
Just bleep that part out. that you
No,
got it
I
for
mean,
Matt.
anyways. So I got one for Matt, and I was like, well, I want for one for myself, and it's like, well, buy 3 get 1 free.
Oh, sure. Yes.
And
Yes.
so,
yes.
So what are the movies you got?
so I got Remember the Titans, I got the Sopranos, and then I got a Star Wars one. But it's a very cool website.
What was the one that's free? You said buy 3 get 1 free.
Yeah, so I got the Sopranos one for Matt, Sopranos one for me, the Remember the Titans, and then Star Wars.
Oh, okay.
I have my work party during the workday tomorrow. We're going bowling, of course. And it's ugly sweater.
A Wednesday party?
I know. It's during the workday, too. It's a little... No significant others, whatever. Anyways, it's an ugly ass...
It's fucking lame.
It's an ugly ass sweater party.
Okay.
You
What
could
are
rather
you
use
gonna- what
We're
do
going
you
to
guys
get triple
think?
use out of it
You
in
know?
1 year.
Do you think that I could show up with the president, vice president, all these people in my company in an ugly ass sweater?
I mean, if that
Why not?
if that offends them, you're working at the wrong
Yeah.
place.
Why not?
Who knows? So
I mean, you said it's an ugly sweater party, right?
yeah.
And that's an ugly ass
Hey,
sweater.
you know what? I bet
some
you
booty
I bet you
cheeks.
pussy out.
Yeah, I bet you
I
I do.
bet
I
you
bet you I
fucking
will
pussy
pussy
out.
out.
What are you
Yeah.
gonna wear? What are you gonna wear, really?
I don't. I mean,
You don't have another one?
I don't think I do. I mean,
Yeah,
like,
you do.
Well, like I just wear like other like really like heavy.
I mean,
knit
you have.
ones.
We know you have a lot of ugly sweaters.
Yes, but whether or not it's Christmas, Day,
Not a chance you're wearing the Tyson one.
No,
You.
0%. But I did actually. I
You want my beer pong one?
what's your beer pong one?
The one with the Velcro where you the balls and shit?
Maybe. Are you
I
gonna be
also-
working from home tomorrow?
No, but I could
Leave it
just-
on your porch.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to drive down to Kaiser,
To
I've got one
Kaiser.
for you.
All right. I actually might take him up on that.
You should.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And then your boss is going to come up to you and say, "Peter, are you an alcoholic?"
Yeah.
The president of
boy.
the company
If
is
you-
here.
yeah, if
I'm
you-
gonna. He's gonna say, "I'll give you 5 minutes to go home and change."
I do. Braxton knows that. So I totally forgot that our like president, everyone was going to be in at the office today because they usually work across the country, and I went to work in jeans and a sweater, much like I'm wearing just right now. And my boss told me it was like, you should go home and change. I got sent home to go home and change.
To change to what?
just
Like,
dress clothes.
It's definitely. You remember?
They
I don't
like
know-
to play dress out.
Do you remember how Benchcraft was when we first started, with like the Matt Barkers and the who's the guy with the fake teeth that left the company?
fake teeth.
Yeah, Ryan
Oh, Foster.
Foster, like all those guys would kind of like dress up and show off and whatever. Sounds like it's pretty similar with
Yeah,
the upper
it's
management.
very much like that. So. But it was fine.
Like I said before, I'd much rather have a boss who catches you before you see anybody
Yeah.
and says, "Hey, buddy,
Just going.
just do it."
Yeah.
I wouldn't have gone back.
No, I mean, I thought, because I showed up and I was like, oh, crap. And I already kind of knew in my head. And then it was just like, I've got too much respect for you to let them see you like this. It was like, you mean cozy? So, anyways, it looks very much like I do for the quad. So,
Since we're in the topic of movies, let's knock this out of the way too. So Ashley asked me, there's a question presented to her that she would be interested to hear our answer. Name your start. So this is basketball related.
Okay.
But name your starting 5. I mean, we do this shit all the time.
Yeah.
Mostly with football, probably. But name your starting 5 fictional basketball characters.
is Michael Jordan a fictional basketball character?
The only rule is you can't use Michael Jordan, like from Michael Jordan in Space Jam.
Yeah.
but you can use. Like you can't use Bill Murray in Space. If they played themselves, you can't use that. That's the only rule.
Okay, are we doing Snake? I've got my number 1 overall.
Yeah, start.
I've got my whole team.
Okay, you say what you've got.
I mean, the team they played, what's it called?
The Monstars.
The Monstars.
The Monstars. I'll take the fucking Monstars. All of them.
Yeah, just every. Okay,
But
that's fine.
for the exercise,
Yeah.
I'll go different. Monstars are also not allowed because it's full team and obviously they're aliens.
Sure. Yeah.
You can take one of them. Because you can take like Bugs and Lola, so you can take one of the
That's
Monsters.
true.
Yeah.
Okay. Peter, you go first.
Okay. Troy Bolton.
You fuckhead.
That didn't even
High
cross
School
my mind.
Musical.
I was thinking about
Troy.
like a good basketball
He's
player.
a baller.
And he can sing.
That's an obvious 1-1.
Come on. How do you
That's
not-
an obvious 1-1.
One of one.
We're beating your fucking ass. If that's your first pick.
Wait,
Dude,
well,
I disagree. I disagree wholeheartedly.
Scholarship. What about okay, go on.
I'm going to go like Mike.
That's
Bow
a good
Wow.
one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Because it's Michael Jordan.
That was
Sure.
one of mine.
I name one for you. What do you got?
What are we going? Starting 5. So, yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
I'll go Junior Battle, the center for Coach Carter.
I was gonna say
Junior Battle
I was
is
wondering if you would go Coach Carter
Of
because
course
I'm like,
I would have.
I
Like
figured.
Mike was definitely on my. He was my
Yeah.
point though. So I
Okay.
gotta think of someone else.
Snake draft, you get another one.
Ooh.
I'll replace Bow Wow with Bugs as my point.
Okay. I'm not thinking about positions.
Yeah.
I
I just don't remember everyone on
Oh.
Coach Carter. I remember Channing Tatum in Coach Carter. I don't
Jason
remember.
Lyle. I'll
Hey,
tell you.
Sure.
Tasmanian Devil, power forward.
Do you remember that other Disney movie where it was the 2 twin girls and they were just
Oh
like
yeah,
so bad?
yeah.
I would love to choose one of those, but I don't think I'm gonna do that.
I don't even. What double team?
Double team.
Double
or something
team.
like
The one that did the dribble.
Yeah.
Oh god.
so bad. Juking them.
Oh God, I got a good one.
Oh, okay. Here's mine. Mine is the kid on the commercial who said, "Coach, the ball was off me." Do you remember?
That fucking guy.
the tell the truth
Yeah.
commercial.
Why are you building the worst team possible?
Coach, the ball was off me.
Hey, optics.
The worst team possible. That guy passes it to Troy. Troy passes it back to him. It's off me, coach.
Just all assists, no points.
Yeah.
All right. So what are the two so far? You got Bow Wow, like Mike,
And Tasmanian Devil.
You
Okay.
got Troy Bolton and the fucking snitch.
Yeah.
And then you get one more.
And right.
Oh, okay.
No, how? It goes to me.
It's
Snake
Snake
draft.
again.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. I don't know at this point.
Oh,
I mean, I've got, I'm
I
trying
got a
to
good
like
one.
rack my brain on
I
what
just
we've got
had one,
here.
and now it's slipping my mind.
Come on, Pete. I got to get to mine. I don't want anyone to take it.
Okay.
If you want to name somebody from Coach Carter, I'll tell you the name.
Okay.
Who you want?
I'll just take Channing Tatum so I have a very
Jason Lyle?
Yeah, there you go. So now I've got Troy Bolton and Jason Lyle.
Leave us be, coach. We got shit to do.
Yeah. My team outside of the snitch kid, pure sex.
All
Pure
right.
sex.
I just had the
Ready for
perfect
my
one.
third?
Yeah.
It's my turn, you
It
dummy.
is his.
How? All right.
Have you ever seen a snake draft?
We're sitting in weird spots.
You
It is a weird rotation.
I
Starting
know, I
with
did
Pete.
take Troy Bolton.
Starting with Pete was a bad
I
idea.
did. Yeah.
Oh man.
If you take mine, I'm quitting.
I just need to remember what basketball movies exist.
Hey, you can't do
All right.
that.
All right, that's fine.
Oh, yeah. The kid from Luck of the Irish.
God damn it. That's not the one that I'm going to pick now, but he was on my list.
Yeah.
Luck of the
That fucking guy was making everything.
Yeah.
God damn it.
And he was small.
He was going to be my small forward. Mm-hmm. Well, I have Junior Battle and Bugs. Shooting guard, Air Bud.
Shut the
I fucking Air Bud.
Ah, yeah.
I didn't want
damn.
anyone
Yeah.
to take Air Bud.
Air Bud's pretty good.
You can tell he's done this before.
Yeah, I know.
This ain't his first rodeo.
No, I just was asked this question, and one of the first ones I thought of was Air Bud, so I'm just hoping no one takes him.
Okay.
I wanted the
your
luck of the Irish.
Or your last one, right?
Yeah,
this is your
My
fifth?
fourth.
Oh, okay.
Fucking Derek Luke. What's his name in the movie? Fucking Glory Road.
Glory Road.
The El Paso, the Texas Western. True story. You don't remember that?
I
No.
don't. I'm sorry.
You've never seen Glory Road?
I
No.
don't think I have.
It's so Texas Western that's what it used to be. Now it's UTEP, University of Texas El
Gotcha.
Paso.
Okay.
This is when they started the first team to start 5 black players.
Oh, I have seen that.
Against Pat Riley in Kentucky. So Booby Miles played Derek Luke in the point guard as a point guard for that team.
Okay.
So I'm taking him as my fourth.
Okay. Shoot, this is hard.
Right, because then what is new Space Jam?
I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Didn't watch that.
I never saw the new Space Jam on account that I
yeah,
hate
maybe.
LeBron James. 5.
Stop. Don't do that.
You don't want Muggsy from Monstars?
Yeah,
Isn't Larry Bird
No.
one of the Monstars?
No, it's Larry Johnson, Muggsy Bogues, Charles Barkley, Patrick Ewing,
Did one of
and
y'all
Sean
take
Bradley.
Did y'all take Lola yet?
No one took Lola yet.
I'll take Charles Barkley
All
from
right.
the Monstars
Yeah, and I'll take Lola because I'm building
because you're a freaking horny bastard.
exactly. Look at how outside again.
It's sex.
Yeah.
It's all sex.
Here outside of the snitch kid, but yeah. Number 5 for me, I'm going back to High School Musical, and here's why.
Don't tell me you're taking Corbin Blue.
No,
Corbin
no,
Blue
no.
Cheese?
No, but I'm taking, if you've ever heard of the other guy on the team who is the chef. The chef of it is a legacy. It is a legacy pick. The guy who also wants to be a chef in his spare time. I don't even know his name.
Is that your 5?
Those are my 5.
Yeah.
I think I'm winning.
He has a major part in Stick to the Status Quo, that song.
And you need one more?
Yeah.
So, one more for me.
Very undersized, my team.
I'll go,
But we're fast.
what's his fucking name? And White Men Can't Jump. Is it Wesley Snipes? No. No,
You're
no,
going Woody Harrelson or Wesley Snipes?
Wesley Snipes.
I don't remember his name, but that's a good pick. And then is that your 5?
Yep.
All right, my last one, Shaq from Blue Chips.
But you can't.
But he didn't play himself. That's the only rule.
Whatever.
Because you could have taken Shaq or Penny
Oh,
from Blue Chips.
Right, and I suppose, what is that movie that
Above the Rim.
Adam Sandler was in?
Could you take
Anthony Edwards? Is that the one?
You could have taken Above the Rim players. You could have taken Hustle.
Hustle.
Yeah, because they didn't play themselves. So
Right.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
But my team with Shaq and Junior Battle would absolutely murder Troy Bolton.
yeah,
and Blue
Pete's
Cheese.
Not Lola Bunny.
It's really between me and you.
Imagine Junior Battle and Shaq posting up Troy Bolton and a chef, and the kid who snitches on himself.
Yeah, you're weak, Pete.
This
You're
is-
weak.
It's for entertainment, not investment purposes.
I tell you what, though, if you have to deal with Chuck and Tasmanian Devil down in the paint, you're
That's-
gonna have a hard time.
It's ruthless.
Yeah, what are you gonna do against Air Bud, dude?
So,
We might have to put him down.
Air Bud's chucking up threes, brother.
I mean, you have to. The assist has to be perfect
From
Air
Bugs. From Bugs.
Okay.
The Bugs getting it done.
ruthless, just like you guys were being to me. I looked at my phone earlier today. I just got out of a bunch of meetings. 37 text messages of you guys trying to make me into the loser of the fantasy football league, which is not going to happen.
First of all, well,
I don't
it wasn't you
understand.
guys. Mitch brought up the point, which is not an absurd idea, the fact that our last place lives in Texas.
Yeah, and last year our last place was in Utah.
But also, I knew that Lowe would be willing to do the punishment. Last year, I don't want to disclose any information, but we caught Austin at a very bad time. I think it would have been inappropriate to ask him to take time to do a punishment when he was dealing with what he was dealing with.
Personal stuff, yeah.
Lo is absolutely the perfect person because she'll use it as content. She'll, do this whole thing with it.
She could turn it into a whole bit and drive people to her website on it for a radio station.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I knew she was going to be more than willing to do it. But I do find
it. She purposely got last so she would do it?
So she could content bomb this?
I mean,
maybe.
It worked out well for her.
Tell us, Lo.
But I do find it funny that Mitchell,
first year in the playoffs,
he gets in the playoffs, and all of a sudden he's got so much to say. Oh, we should make these changes.
Dude's got to buy. He's got to buy.
In fact, here's what we're going to do. This is what's happening. It's like, dude.
Yeah, he was like,
first of all, is this your first week?
She is an exemption. Peter, you're going to be doing stand-up comedy. You're going to go and fuck a teddy bear at a Muchas Gracias.
Jesus Christ, Peter.
Horned up.
The stand-up is... would be fucking
agree.
incredible.
I think
you guys know I would kill at that too because I would prepare.
Prove it.
I would. No, I can't
Peter,
do it right now. I would never release.
Not
my
right now.
material.
Not
I'm
right
in
now.
the
Not
playoffs,
right now.
and I committed to the second suggestion.
Yeah.
What was that one? The Muchas
24 hours at Muchas eating a
How
shrimp
about
burrito.
How about
You're
this?
just doing it.
Let's make a deal. Let's make a deal. If Miguel wins the league, he has to do the Muchas.
Oh, no, I mean,
Listen.
Okay.
He has to do the Muchas, but you have to do the stand-up open mic 5 minutes at least.
So you would have to be at a Muchas for 24 hours willingly?
He wants to do that.
I did ask how the hell that is a punishment.
Yeah.
That is not a punishment.
Yeah. But, I mean...
That sounds like a nice Saturday for Miguel.
Here's the only thing that is the punishment. It's not just, constantly eating. It's that can't be a comfortable environment. I don't know how you make that atmosphere comfortable. Those are some...
Well, and I think there would have
not
to be...
comfy benches.
Because the original idea, where this idea comes from, is the IHOP thing, right?
Yeah. Or
But
Waffle House, yeah.
Yeah, an IHOP pancake is much less than a burrito. So I think it would have to be changed to every burrito you eat is 2 hours.
Something similar to that.
2.5, 3,
I'd even
whatever.
take
Okay.
3.
Yes, that is not a punishment, but fuck no, I'm not committing to that. That's 24 hours at Muchas.
How about this?
I
But
will
it takes
commit to
3
you
hours
doing the
off.
stand-up.
Yeah.
How about this? If Miguel wins, you have to do the stand-up. If he doesn't win, he has to do the burritos.
Each burrito gotta take off 7 hours.
3. I'll give you 3.
No, I can't. I could barely
He
finish
can't
that
eat
fucking
things these
burrito
days,
anymore,
yeah.
dude.
So.
That's true.
Those Muchas burritos are. There's no chance I would eat more than 3 of those.
Well,
at
you had
once.
some pretty hot talk in the chat.
Yeah. Well,
I mean,
Are you just-
if Peter
you
was
cowering?
if Peter was like, yeah, I'll fucking do it, then I would have been in. But now I've gotten a chance
So
to
it's
sit
Peter's
back and
fault.
realize
it's my
that this is a
blame
fucking
me.
terrible idea.
Blame me.
I do want to see you. 5 minutes of stand up.
I'd
That's a great night for
do
all
it,
of
Peter.
us.
I'd honestly
Listen,
kill.
how
You
about-
guys know I would
How
kill.
about this?
You guys know I would
For content purposes,
Just do it.
why don't all 3 of us do it? 5 minutes. We all are creative and funny and talented enough to come up with 5 minutes
Yeah, I mean, we
to do an open mic.
We've literally put
I don't want to
ourselves.
risk my humor. I am funny, so I'd rather watch unfunny people.
What? How are you risking your humor? What does that phrase even mean?
Nobody knows.
What's your strategy if I'm up there? Are you
I will-
allowed? Are you?
I
gonna,
won't heckle.
Okay, that was
No,
Oh.
if anything, I'd help.
Yeah.
I'd help you prepare.
Yeah.
And I
Oh,
would
you don't-
support it.
And
I
that's
would
the thing.
support it.
If we all 3 went to the same open mic and we
Yeah.
brought our friends, we would feel great about it because our friends would be half the crowd.
Yeah. Miguel wins. I'm not going to say if either of you win. Because you win in weird circumstances. He wins because he's good. You win because you.
Oh yeah.
you
Three out
rigged.
of 5 year champion.
The one thing
it's
I
just
don't
weird.
like about this is I don't like jinxing my possible victory tied into something. It feels like betting
That's
on
exactly what I'm doing.
it. It's
is I'm
betting on
jinxing
it. And I don't want to
both
jinx
of
it.
you.
I don't.
Well,
can it
that's why
just
I'm
not be
saying. Why don't
tied
we
to
just
that?
all three do it? I'll do
Why do you
it.
keep tying us in? He already wants to do it.
I don't want to do it.
Why can't we just watch
I'd
it?
be very nervous.
Why don't you want to do it?
Because I was never in it in the first place. I keep throwing me
He
in.
doesn't need to prove that he's
But-
funny.
Yeah, I don't want to be up
But
there.
the reason I'm doing this is or suggesting this is because I think you'd be really good and I think you'd be really funny.
I think I'd rather watch both of you there. I'll help you write.
Are you thinking that you're a punchline guy or you're a story guy?
Do you have a little stage fright?
He might. I mean, we've
Yeah.
gone
Are
up.
you a
We've,
little pussy?
we've literally done this show in front of.
The guy that's given a message in front of
Tens of
800
people.
people
Yeah.
several times. Yeah, I got stage fright.
I was.
I would be the greatest supporter you've ever had at a stand-up.
I doubt
I would
that.
be up front. I would laugh. I would start an applause, and I would fucking just.
Would you give a whoop whoop?
I would do it all.
I would ruin
fucking
it right
do
away. Be like, look at this guy.
Yeah,
There's Ozempic
Let-
ass.
Oh, Pete, you're on to something.
I.
Just really rude. Just pick people off.
If you decide to go that bit, I will happily accept it.
All right.
You go that route where you're doing crowd work.
Yeah.
Let me be one.
Just immediately.
Let
going-
me be one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that.
I think you should do it. I'll do it with you, Pete.
We'll see. I want to.
Let's see if we're actually funny.
We know the answer.
Probably not.
No. We're just.
Imagine how
you
that-
and I coast on our good looks. You know that.
Imagine how that would feel if you're both like taking turns, like dropping punchlines and jokes, and Peter drops a good one, and we're all fucking dying laughing, and then Braxton follows it up.
You think
and
we're
I
gonna
just
be
go,
up there at the same time?
I mean, you could work that out if you were like, hey, we're gonna do like tag team this.
Okay.
And then
We could be like weekend update.
Who's on first?
I'm the black guy.
we fucking
Just in case you didn't know.
we die laughing at Peter's punchline, and then Braxton follows, and I just start a boo.
That's exactly what would
guy.
happen.
Boo this guy.
Just tomato out of nowhere.
out of no. You just will go like hockey route and you just start throwing octopus at people or anything.
Octopi.
Octopus. Yeah, you're right.
Oh, I'm not. It's octopus.
Octopi.
No,
is
you
plural.
are right.
Yeah, you are right.
It's plural.
So right, it's so wrong. So wrong. Joe Burrow, speaking of fantasy football, Joe Burrow ruined the hopes of a bunch of people their fantasy football this past weekend. His kneel down there at the end of the game that secured the Bengals victory cost him.
Peter.
Damn.
Dumbass.
Got him.
Got him. It's like, what? Got me right with a knuckle. I hated it. I always fell for that in middle school, by the way. It's like, oh, and then I would do it back and be like, do it. Look. The circle below the waist. I just can't help but look. Joe Burrow kneels down at the end of the game and cost himself 0.1 points in fantasy. A bunch of people went online saying that 0.1 points cost them
That could have been us.
a chance into the playoffs.
Imagine if I got up by one, or
Right.
by barely, like point something, and then that happened.
right?
I kind of always hate those, like, stories.
Yeah.
Because it's like, no, he didn't. It's, you have, what, 14 players on your team?
Yeah,
You just got yourself in a position where he was your only hope.
sure.
It's like, give the guy a break.
Yeah, I mean, it's
And
similar
he had a great
to...
game.
He had a very good game, yeah. Do either of you have Josh Allen?
No.
Neither of you have Josh Allen.
He had, what, 51
50
fantasy
whatever,
points?
yeah.
And
Austin
14.
has him.
Did he? There you go.
But he played fucking incredible. But the Bills really let a lot of people down. I had the Bills and the Cards winning, and there was a pretty big wage, or not a big wager, but a big payout that I had tied together, and the Cardinals losing to Seattle and the Bills losing to the Rams. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Big time.
However, on the other side, you once again have secured yourself a nice little victory off of your betting, your penny bets, your penny slot.
Penny
bets.
slots. The penny slots is a new strategy, man.
You need to start sending those to us.
That's
I
how
might
they
play
stop
that.
winning.
Yeah. See,
Remember, that's what happened. Remember, we do Walsh's, and then it loses, and we stop, and Walsh is on a 16-week winning streak. And then he sends me one, like, week 9, and I go, you're welcome. We are not doing them anymore. That's why you're on a fucking heater.
Yeah. I still do my own monster every week. It's about $25 to pay 43 or whatever it is.
I'm not even betting, so I don't know why I'm complaining. I mean, I'd bet $1.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is, you bet $1, it doesn't hurt when you lose it. You almost expect to lose it. But you win 60,
Yeah.
you win 90. Like, I have been betting $1 here and there, and the ones that I've won were 70, 80, 90, and then two $40 ones.
Last night was 60, wasn't it?
Last night was 60.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, they've been those. That was a $2 bet though.
Oh, gotcha.
But
Yeah.
they're nice payouts because if I'm doing dollar parlays, I just bought myself 80 fucking parlays
Yeah.
to do in the next 2 weeks.
Literally the next like 2.5 months of betting
Yeah.
you have paid for by doing that. So
You can boost it up. You can. I mean, some of them are sitting at plus 11,000, and I've had some of those missed by 1.
okay, so without trying to tie us into it, what is like your favorite thing to put on those dollar bets?
A really good quarterback for 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Almost always it hits. I mean, Cooper Rush got 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So you know that if you have a Joe
Passing touchdown.
passing touchdowns,
Yeah.
you know that if you have a Joey B, he'll get 2 touchdowns. You know that if you have
Josh
somebody
Allen.
like Cooper Rush, but he has CeeDee Lamb or Jake Ferguson or any of those guys, he'll probably get 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially with a kind of weak
Yeah.
running back.
With somebody like Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson, rushing yards. Like a 40 rushing yards that's sitting at minus 200.
Mm-hmm.
I like to add that on there. Any all-star wide receiver for 60 or 70 yards that's sitting at minus money.
Yeah,
Great addition.
An alt yard type of
And then
thing.
if you know that you're getting like a Joe Mixon, a Chase Brown, not Henry because Henry's really heavy rushing, but you get those great receiving running backs.
I love a good receiving rushing
tie-in.
Yeah.
Because you would get somebody like Rico Dowdle for 75 both.
Yeah.
Chase Brown for 100. Saquon Barkley
Yeah.
for 100.
CMC when he's healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are the ones I usually have on there.
Yeah.
And it's nice when it hits. You have and then sometimes I'd place one where like they're the third or fourth wide receiver on the team, but you know the QB loves them. Like Yosivas for Cincinnati, 25 yards. It's at plus money. You know that Lamar loves Isaiah Likely, 25 yards plus money. Those are great ones to have. Like
Guys that like to
And
distribute.
Mooney is probably another good
Darnell
one.
Mooney,
Well,
yeah, he's been
these
sitting at a
days-
lot more because Kirk fucking
Yeah.
loves him more than anyone.
Yeah, but like Kirk can't throw a touchdown to save his life these days.
Who was I thinking of? Noah Gray, Chiefs, 25 yards. Easy.
Right. Yeah, because in situations like that, with Mahomes or with Allen, sometimes you just go like, who are you going to favor that day? Which can be a little
You
tough.
almost want to like go extreme on either direction because you pick middle, like look at me giving advice because I want $60. But I just found
Hey, I did it a
like
few weeks
a
ago.
string of like lost bets. Taking somebody like T. Higgins is hot and cold. Like you don't know if T. Higgins is gonna have 120 or gonna have fucking 30. But if you take either Jamar Chase or Yosivas, you're probably hitting both. If you take so if we're using Buffalo and Kansas City, taking like Noah Gray or Justin Watson, the second and third tight ends that Mahomes loves throwing to, Josh Allen loves throwing to Mac Hollins. Mac Hollins is even great for like an anytime touchdown.
Yeah. The thing with Jamar Chase the last like 2-3 weeks is I've been not like trying to buy the dip. I'm just like not betting on because I'm assuming the dip is going to happen. The guy has just been insane over the last few weeks. I mean, he's just like getting multiple touchdowns every time.
The one
it's
all-star
insane.
that's really hard to count on for stats, like anytime touchdown, you can count on him most of the time.
Yeah.
But for stats, Derrick Henry
Derrick Henry has
is
screwed
very
me a
hard
couple
to count on
times.
because
Yeah.
there's times where like Justice Hill is in the whole time and Derrick Henry has 30, and you're just praying he would bust out a fucking 80-yarder and go over 100.
Right. It feels like you need to bet on Derrick Henry at halftime. Because usually, like, that's when he seems to ramp things up. And you go, okay, let's see how he is here at half. Has he scored? Okay, if he has, I'm gonna back off. I'm not betting. But then you could assume maybe on the second half, if he hasn't done a lot, like Sleeping Giant is going to emerge, type of a thing.
Yeah, and he is kind of an automatic as far as anytime touchdown. I think he's only missed 1 or 2 games this entire season, but you're getting that at minus 200.
Guys who screwed me a couple of times, Kyren Williams with the Rams.
Yeah.
Kyren Williams?
Kyren, sorry.
He's automatic as fuck for me.
The one time, there was one time where it was like, oh, he scored in 7 of his last 10 games or whatever, and it was just like, okay, put the money on, and then he
Kyren Williams is
scores.
probably one of the most reliable for the rushing receiving combination.
Yeah, I just stopped putting him on the anytimes because he'd always be like, I'd look up and down and be like, okay, who's going to be like what some would be like the automatic anytimes? And
the only thing that, like, Kyren Williams was an absolute automatic, and he still is. But with Kupp and Puka coming back, it's taken away some touches for him.
What's been a fun risk is the Gibbs and Montgomery anytime. Because, like, depending on how that goes, that's a kind of fun risk to throw in with your same game.
Going back to fantasy, I'm sure that Braxton and I feel this because we both have him. The guy that's been extremely underwhelming this season was Sam Laporta.
Yeah.
Sam Laporta has been absolute garbage this season.
Yeah,
Dude, I'm done with him. I'm
I replaced him with
Njoku.
I took Kate Otten.
Yeah.
Kate Otten was getting way more.
Yeah,
like, Laporta's just trash.
The hot girl at the prom this year, Trey McBride.
Dude, he was the hot girl at the prom last year.
Yeah. So,
Towards the end of last year, it was killing.
He was a huge reason why I won last year.
yeah, the guy's been insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, Sam Laporta not been your guy.
I feel like if I were to
But
think
he was your bell cow a lot last year, I believe, right?
Laporta?
Yeah.
I always just think back to, like, the fantasy league, the fantasy seasons I've won. There's always been one pickup in the middle of the season that's helped me go all the way. Mm-hmm. There was one season where in the middle of it, I put in a waiver for Christian Watson and Isaiah Pacheco. And Pacheco's like before his peak. And then I ended up winning that. I don't want to jinx it, but there's one guy that I picked up in the middle of the season this year that's been absolutely fucking insane.
Who's that?
Chase Brown. Mm-hmm. Chase Brown has been a monster pickup this year.
Yeah, I mean, like, that was, I wouldn't say unexpected, but, like, he's not the sexy name that anyone.
Yeah, because,
assumes.
they had Zach Moss, and then he was getting all the touches, and then he went down.
Yeah. No, that's been pretty good. I'm trying to think, like, who my guy has been or anything like that. You got to go potty?
I'm pottying.
He's going to go tinkle. So, I think that, like, a guy that I picked up, which was good at the time, was Darnell Mooney. And then I think I dropped Ladd McConkey. And then now on the other side, I wish that I had Ladd McConkey, despite the fact that he was injured this past week. But it's insane that, like, the Falcons are 0-4 in their last 4 games. Kirk Cousins has thrown 8 interceptions in those 4 games and has thrown for 0 touchdowns or 0-4.
Yeah, but you pick, like, at least in our league, because you're doing well in the other league that you're in, but you pick up players and you don't play them. You didn't play Darnell Mooney last week.
No, yeah, I did.
And he had like 20.
He did, yeah.
That's Kirk. Like, he had more points than wide receiver 1, who I have, which is Drake London.
Yeah. Another one that's been kind of hit and miss for me is, who am I thinking of? I had it just a second ago. But, I mean, the fact is that Tyreek has done nothing this year, and that's been really frustrating. But that's how it goes.
That's how important the quarterback position is. Without Tua, there's no Tyreek.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. Oh, Jordan Addison was the kind of like the hot and cold that I had all year long, who was doing kind of nothing. I think I even dropped in one of my leagues, and he goes off for 40 points.
Helped you win it last week.
Yeah, so I had him that time. Braxton's, he'll be around.
When you're the commissioner, you get to
you
tweak rules.
Just wander
and
around. What are you like?
Let me put myself in the playoffs
here. So, yeah, let me put myself in the playoffs. And we'll get back here to the NFL, but I do think that we need to find our way into the college world here before we start talking about the NFL. A lot of fantasy stuff to start, which we'll get back to. The college football playoff is out. You have your teams. You have your 1 through 12. Oregon, your number 1 overall seed. They get the first round bye in addition to Georgia, Boise State, and Arizona State are your 4.
Who would have seen
First round
ASU
buys.
being there?
Not me.
I didn't fucking see them being in there. I don't
Good
even know
for
if
them,
you'd be
though.
scared of them. Would you be scared of them?
No.
Arizona State.
I mean, they're fucking offensive
House
firepower,
Yeah,
but
house money at this point. For,
Scotabo is fucking.
yeah, he's
I mean,
flashing Heisman poses, thinking that he's like
I
he
mean,
wasn't invited to the Heisman.
he wasn't, but I
ceremony,
feel like he could make a case to
Yeah.
be at least be in New York.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the Texas is going to roll over Clemson. Like we saw Clemson in the flesh. Clemson does not deserve to be here.
I agree.
0% chance Clemson wins this game. I think they get their ass handed to them. Clemson has no right to be in there.
Can we say that though, as viewers, as fans? Is there such a thing as like you don't deserve to be there? Like in
I
this
think it's-
in this case,
So, who are the 2 first teams out?
Alabama and Miami.
Does Alabama deserve that spot? Probably.
Head to head, you look at them,
but-
but they're a 3-loss
But I'm
team.
also kind of
Yeah.
contradicting my own opinion.
Yeah.
Because a non-conference champion 3-loss team, I don't think deserves to be there.
But
Right.
outside
Exactly.
of the title, I think there's 2 things that you're going to hold over Alabama's head. It's hard for me to justify putting a team in with 3 losses.
Yeah.
yeah.
However,
exactly.
as much as people hate, and I know everyone in the fucking West Coast, everyone that's a Pac-12 fan hates the SEC conversation. It's the fucking truth. You go through the gauntlet of the SEC. If you are an undefeated team, you're probably having 1 or 2 losses. That's just a fact. They just have the fucking talent. It is proven every year that they get the most NFL draft picks that work out in the league. So I don't think you put a 3-loss team in the college playoff, but did they have a tougher schedule than Clemson? It's fucking night and day.
Yeah.
It's insanely, the gap is huge.
Well, and I think that something that's occurred this year that doesn't usually happen in the SEC is, and something that we're very accustomed to being Pac-12 fans, is the SEC kind of had a cannibalization. Like there was a lot of good teams, not really any like superior great teams, which I think really.
NIL.
Huh?
NIL.
Exactly. And that used to negatively affect the Pac-12 all the time, is that there's a lot of good teams, and unfortunately people beat each other, especially in crunch time at the end of the year. And now the SEC is experiencing that, and everybody wants to kind of give them a handout for it. And it's like, no.
Yeah, I don't think that Alabama has anyone to blame but themselves. They have no standing to be in the playoff this year. They lost to 2 teams that were 6-6. They played horribly. Jalen Milroe was absolutely shut down in both of those games. They don't deserve to be in there. Now, what I see up and down are other teams like I have no idea what's going on upstairs. I think that my dog is running around. It's very much distracting me.
It's funnier to think that it's your wife. Just going absolutely nuts.
Yeah, I think that Bo's got the zoomies upstairs. But what I think is really weird about this like ranking systems is that you have the college football playoff rankings and then you have the bracket. So you have Oregon and this is the rankings. Oregon 1, Georgia 2. Texas 3, but ranked 5 or seeded 5. You have Penn State ranked 4, but seeded 6. You have Notre Dame ranked 5, but seeded 7. You have Ohio State ranked 6, but seeded 8. Tennessee ranked 7, but seeded 9. Indiana ranked 8, but seeded 10. Boise State ranked 9, but seeded 3.
Okay, Peter, this is a bad take, brother.
What do you mean? What's the bad take about this?
Brackets don't have to align with the AP poll rankings.
No.
I mean,
This is not AP poll. This is like the legitimate college football playoff rankings.
So college football playoff rankings doesn't have to be the same as the playoff bracket. That's like you asking the final rankings of college basketball to align with the March Madness bracket. It's not. It doesn't have to follow that.
I think that it should in this case. Personally, and this is where I think that a lot of the controversy lies. One is this very confusing where someone is seated versus where someone is ranked. I think that like you take the top four teams regardless of get the first round bye. Will there be controversy there? I assume so. 5 plays through 12, and then at that point, the lowest seed plays the number 1 seed. I think that regardless of your feelings about Oregon, to see that bracket is loaded with Ohio State, Tennessee, and Texas that Oregon could potentially have to play just to get into the final, the championship game is absurd.
I do agree with that. I know it's going to come across as my bias towards Oregon, but the fact that the number 1 team doesn't get to play the lowest ranked team left, that just doesn't make sense. Even Yahoo Fantasy is able to get that right.
Even the fantasy can figure out that like if that there should be an incentive to the number 1 team. But it doesn't feel like
all we get is a bye week. But why is that a benefit when like why not be
Penn State where you could play SMU
home game?
Yeah, you get a home game against SMU, and then you could play Boise State, which you've already beaten.
Yeah.
And then you could go through, and then what? You just ended up playing...
The issue there is a bigger picture.
An extra game?
The issue there is what I would advocate for is get rid of the benefit of winning a conference championship. Because that's how you end up with Boise State getting a bye with a worse strength of schedule than a lot of people above them. So imagine what I feel like would solve this issue is fuck the conference championships and the benefit that they get. You rank them 1 through 12.
Agreed.
And then the number 1 team gets the benefit of playing the lowest seed.
Yes.
No more Pac-12 champion, SEC champion. Rank them exactly how they are.
Yeah.
And play that way.
And I think we might be saying the same thing, but if you win your conference, you're automatically in.
Sure.
But it doesn't guarantee you a top 4 spot.
No, it does.
Right.
It shouldn't.
It shouldn't.
It shouldn't. Because I love ASU. I love Boise State. I don't think they deserve the bye spots.
They don't.
But they got it just because they won their conference championship. I don't think they should put as much weight on that. Just rank them 1 through 12 and play it like almost like a fucking NBA bracket.
Yeah.
It's 1 versus lowest and then go from there.
Well, with 12, you'd have to give 4 teams a bye.
Yeah, so you still get the bye.
Yeah, but then you that's what I meant. Like still do the structure
you
it
still
like you
have
get the
5 through
lowest
12,
seed.
yes.
But reseed it after the 5 through 12 play.
Mm-hmm.
Because the whole thing is that like if you look at the number 12 team, which is Clemson, they're the number 16th ranked overall. Say Clemson somehow wins. I mean, that's not then a team that Oregon would end up playing. They would play a championship caliber team in either Ohio State or Tennessee.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Well, and I think it's reasonable to believe that as this progresses in our lifetime, it will probably move.
It'll evolve
to a 16-team playoff at most, I think.
Isn't it crazy that how much the fear stays with people? Because that's the only reason we're having this conversation regarding Oregon's bracket is, and I'm not disagreeing with this. I'm not like being argumentative about this, but there's a fear with Ohio State. We're talking about a team that Oregon beat, that Penn State beat, that freezes in the big game.
Sure.
But because they're Ohio State, there's still a fear. We're like, we don't want to fucking play them.
It's not. But that's,
I wouldn't say it's that.
Yeah,
at all.
I don't think it's about Ohio State because I'm confident in playing Ohio State, Tennessee, whoever. I think the Oregon Ducks can definitely win, but You go undefeated, the only team in all of FBS to go undefeated. You can't make the complaints, oh, they're from the Pac-12, they don't have a good schedule. No. We are in the Big Ten. We played Ohio State. We beat them. We did everything we need to. But we still have to play a mid-level ranked team in our first game.
But you're supporting my point. You would feel a lot better if they're not in your bracket. So,
well, no shit.
Right. So my only point is, I'm not saying that Oregon's wrong to feel this way, but my only point is there's still that fear about the Buckeyes.
Yeah.
Because you'd rather not have them in your
difference.
bracket.
It's not fear of the Buckeyes. It's why are we playing any 8 or 9 team? Fill in the blank of whatever 8 or 9 team is there. Why are we given the burden of playing that team, either of those teams, regardless of the colleges that they are? Why is Oregon having to play them when they went undefeated, number 1 in the country for all of the CFP rankings, and we don't get the lowest ranked team?
I get what you're saying with the ranking, and you can argue the ranking all you want. I support that. But I'm saying you wouldn't have this uncomfortable feeling or questioning it if the teams you're waiting for are either Clemson or fucking Arizona State. I'm saying you're still looking at 2 powerhouse teams. That's why you're like, what the fuck?
To me, it's not necessarily about, I want to remove...
You're scared.
No. I want to remove the Ohio State-Tennessee side of things.
Yeah.
And I want to look at this as, what was the freaking incentive? What was the incentive for Oregon at that point to be 13-0, to win their conference championship, to then get this bid?
Yeah.
Because what ended up happening is that Penn State loses, and they could have then eventually been the number 1 or number 2 seed. Penn State is in a way better spot from the road ahead than Oregon is at this point.
Yeah, and you can take Oregon out of it. I would feel the same way if it was Ohio State number 1, Penn State number 1.
Because guess what? Just a week ago or 2 weeks ago, Ohio State was the betting favorite to win the championship. Now, all of a sudden, Oregon, who was perfect in the regular season, who gets the first round bye, in the quarterfinals, that's who they get? It's insane.
Well, you can complain all you want, but I don't think you have as big of a argument compared to the teams who should have been there. Like, I get it. I get that Oregon didn't get the benefit of the doubt. And maybe they're on their way there, but they're not getting the benefit of the doubt that Alabama or Georgia would have. And that might factor into the reason why they're getting an unfair matchup, because I agree they should have the lowest seed. But I want to go back to the teams that should have made the playoffs.
Right.
That should have made the playoffs.
And who
are those teams?
Name 2
Army, number 1.
Okay.
Because let's go to Dan Lanning's point, that cocky motherfucker. So, right? I agree with his point. 80% of it I agree with. But there's 20% I feel like is very ignorant. He said, take care of business. Win your games.
Yeah.
You win your games, no one could question you.
Army 11-1.
If Alabama did what Dan Lanning was saying, no one would question Alabama. Because if you win your fucking games and there's nothing they can hold against you with a 2 or 3 loss, you'd be in. However, I feel like that's an ignorant point to go regarding strength of schedule. Because an Army that was 10-1 is not in the playoffs.
11-1.
11-1. Not in the fucking playoffs. You could make a case for Miami.
I think you could make
Take
a case.
Alabama out of there. You can make a case for Miami. You could make a case for fucking Colorado. I know they're a 3-loss team, but you could have made a case for Colorado if you were considering Alabama.
Yeah, if and then you're considering Colorado, you can consider BYU. It opens up floodgates.
4 or 5 teams that you could consider. So yeah, win your games, but strength of schedule is highly regarded when they're looking at this shit. Boise State, had they not won the fucking conference championship, there's a good chance
They're out.
they're out. SMU, had they not won, there's a good chance they would have been out. Think about that. 1 loss, and you'd be fucking booted.
Yeah, and that is a good point. However, I don't think that it takes away from the fact, regardless of Oregon being in that number one position, there should be a re-rank, or what's the term I'm looking for? Realignment, re-ranking.
Yeah.
Just get rid of the conference championships. That'll fix it.
Or just like we said, if you win your conference, it's an automatic bid. How many major conferences are out there? 6, 8?
Depending on how you want to see that. Yeah, sure.
8 major conferences, you get in. You're ranked accordingly based on the CFP rankings, and then there's 4 at large.
I think that SMU losing was blew up the whole thing, obviously, because you have to make the argument then between SMU and keeping Alabama in or out. Then, Clemson wins the conference, so now you have to put them in. It really just it destroyed the whole thing. Because to think that the ACC really deserves 2 in there is absurd.
It is absurd.
I mean,
but let's think about it. If we did the structure that I'm explaining, so you'd have Oregon, you'd have Georgia, you would have.
Are you trying to go conference or team here?
Conference champions: Oregon, Georgia, Clemson.
Yep.
Arizona State. Boise State.
And then who won the AAC?
The American Conference, is that what you're talking about? Was Army. Yeah.
Not in.
Then you would go Mountain West.
No, Mountain West was Boise State.
Okay, good point.
Yeah. So then you've got 6 there. Whatever the Pac-12 is going to end up being, who knows if the Pac-12 deserves that.
But next year they'll have it. But you get my point. You take those top 8 conferences that are still existing and relevant, or even the top 6.
I think you go 6, and then you've got probably Notre Dame, who's going to be your 7th.
That's the biggest unfair, most unfair thing is Notre Dame not being in the fucking conference. Because unless they lose 2 or 3, they're in. They're not having to battle with anyone. But there's no conference championship.
But the thing they have is they always have strength of schedule because they play USC. They play what's the other big game they play every year?
Stanford,
which is not always big.
Well, they play Army, Navy. Yeah. They play BYU a lot.
They play a strong non-conference schedule.
Yes. Yeah. In Alabama, saying that they need to schedule something less, non-conference or have an easier strength of schedule. It's like,
they lost 2 conference games.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't get any easier than Mercer or whoever they're playing. So, I think that there needs to be some reform here because the ranking versus the seeding is weird. I think that there's not as much of an incentive if you're looking at yourself and you go, okay, I'm going to start gaming the rankings here. To be like, okay, my road might be a little bit easier if I actually decide to lose. I know there's a pride thing. I know you'll disagree with me on that. You can't convince a team to lose, but it's just okay, if you end up seeing. If we, at the end of this, see Penn State as the fucking champion, we're going to come back to this and be like, this is exactly, it's not going to happen. Penn State can't win a big game, But
I feel like if I was the committee, I would have to rank, create a priority list on what's most important. There's 4 things that's most important, and what are they? Do you go by total number of record?
Yeah, record's got to be 1.
Strength of schedule. And then you break down strength of schedule 2 ways. How important are wins against ranked opponents? How much weight do you put on losses against ranked opponents for those 2? Because, it's easy to say, if you lose to a Mercer, or you lose to a Vanderbilt, you're kind of fucking yourself there.
Yeah.
But if you're Georgia and you lost to Texas, how much weight does that put on? And then you beat Alabama, and then you beat this ranked team. Where does that put you? And then I feel like you have to rank those based on what's the highest.
It's almost like they should find a algorithm, and based on the algorithm, choose the 2 best teams.
Have a totally unbiased,
and
computer generated.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and
then
end up
those
with
two
the Alabama
best-
LSU 6-3 national
Those two
championship
best
game.
teams play each other, and we'll call it the BCS.
the Bowl Championship Series. How about that? It was crazy because, like, I was always so frustrated at the BCS because I, was going to Oregon at the time. I was, like, clearly biased. I was like, the computers hate Oregon. What the fuck? And, now it's just like you put people... Involving people in any of this is absurd.
Well,
But it's funny that it goes back to even what we said before the 12-team playoff started. There's no answer.
there isn't.
There isn't. There's always... You can build this to a 24-team fucking playoff. 25th through the 30th would have the same complaints as 13th through 18th. BCS, people complained about that. Now they have this in charge. They went from 4 to 6 to fucking 8, whatever. 12.
Yeah.
It doesn't fucking matter. Someone's going to be unhappy. Someone's going to get fucked over.
Yeah.
There's always going to be complaints.
I'm not pleased with how everything ends up ranked, but, like, I understand where it happens. Like, I mean, it's just to say that, like, Alabama or anyone else, like, had a case or something like that. I understand the Army side, but, like, Army was always going to be fighting an uphill battle. Unfortunately, I think that just kind of the way that things were structured in this first year, I generally think they got it right. From the teams that ended up getting in, the structure of this, like, one, like, how the bracket breaks down, totally disagree.
For the most part, they got it right.
Yeah.
But the one team I'm going to stick with is Army.
Yeah.
To say that they're always going to be fighting an uphill battle, Mountain West is no different than AAC.
That's true.
They won their fucking conference. They lost one game. Why are they out? Why are they fucking out?
The committee hates America.
They have ranked teams.
Yeah. Well,
Or
I think,
they beat ranked teams.
I mean, honestly, I think that you can thank Chris Peterson for the recognition that Boise State has to be able to give them that benefit of the doubt. Also, you have Action Genty, who is a Heisman contender. So
That's going to get fucked over.
yeah, he will. He definitely will.
Like, isn't it funny, though, that the whole thing about being loud, like, I love Prime. I love everything Colorado. But the one thing I don't agree with is this Heisman has become a popularity contest.
Yeah,
But that same popularity contest is probably the reason why Boise State is in.
exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think, yeah, you're exactly right. The reason that Boise State is in is the same reason that Travis Hunter is going to win the Heisman.
Yeah. Here's Dan Lanning talking about where they are seated. He was talking with
Smug bitch.
with Bussin' with the boys.
Oregon, they went undefeated. They're the 1 seed. They got punished for their 1 seed because of you got Tennessee and Ohio State. The way the bracket is shaken out, do you see it that way? Do you pay any mind to it?
No, because it doesn't matter. Who cares? It's outside noise. It doesn't matter. Like, at the end of the day, all we can control is what we do with our opportunity. And this is an unbelievable opportunity. I don't think there's anybody that can deny, like, if we take care of business, like, we deserved it. We've earned it. And that's all we want. We don't want handouts. A couple of our guys said to me yesterday, Coach, go put the ball down in the parking lot. We don't care. Like, they just want to go play. And the fact that you get to play elite teams, what an opportunity for us. And it doesn't mean it's going to be easy, man. It's going to take some hard work. Being a part of championship teams in the past, it means the ball's going to have to bounce the right way at times too, right? Like, it takes some good fortune, some good luck, but you want to do so much in your preparation that you can eliminate, those variables.
So, I mean, a very diplomatic answer. I would expect nothing less when it comes to that.
And he makes a point that I've kind of harped on in conversation with people this week, is that Oregon does seem to be a team that is unaffected. And I say that, like, look at rivalry week. A lot of emotion out on the field between rivals. And even these bigger teams like an Ohio State or Florida State or whomever, there was a lot of emotion. But week in and week out, regardless of the, stress or level of the game, Oregon, when it hits zeros on the clock, we're celebrating, we're shaking hands, and we're going home. It's business as usual. And that's one thing I think that kind of sets Oregon apart in this playoff, is having that maturity that it doesn't seem a lot of other teams have. Miguel.
doesn't buy that.
This fucking hilarious take. It's really easy to act right when you're 13-0 and you're in the position as number one with a bye
Dude,
week.
they're all 18 to 22-year-old kids.
Yeah, and they earn that.
Like, everybody is dealing with a similar, experience.
So you have one season of examples of how they're so mature, and then you forget how they act against Washington because when Washington sucks, there's not as much fire. We forget how they played against Ohio State and someone spat on another fucking player. But right now they're fucking mature. They're super mature because they've been on a roll. No one can beat them. But when the stakes are high and it's a close game, we forget about certain moments where they didn't act mature. So now we got to fucking praise them.
You're saying that one guy spits, and that's the definition of the entire team
outside
for the
of
year?
this season.
I'm not talking about other seasons.
Right, you have one season as an example,
No.
which you still have
But that's
damage.
what we're talking about. We're talking about this year's college football season.
Well, then I have the spit.
He's got the
You
spit.
do have the spit.
Right. So yeah, that's what we're
You're
considering
absolute-
mature. But we're looking. So you're not looking at this season. You're looking at the last 4 games. They've been really mature the last 4 games.
What I'm saying is overall throughout the season, especially when it comes to crunch time, which, yes, the last 4 weeks, this team has looked really mature and prepared for the experience they're about to have.
18 to 22-year-old kids act out when shit's not going right, which Oregon's definitely been a part of many, many times.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah,
just want to
I mean,
make sure
I
that's
know that
out
we
there.
have-
I just want to make sure
And
that's
that's-
out
we
there.
have the
that's
Cliff
why I
Harris's
make-
and the Colt Lyerlas and the Darren Thomases
Yeah,
of the world.
and
Yes, we
and
got that. Yeah.
The past will get everybody. That's for sure.
I mean, mature in Oregon just doesn't fit, so that's why I found that funny.
But let me back Braxton up a little bit on this. Is that like when you look at yes, you have the Hawk Tua moment there with Holden. You also have a team that has been staring down close games and have found ways to win those games, which I think is a very mature thing. Immature teams find ways to lose those games, and they've won those games regardless of whether you're blowing those teams out or not. We were worried about it in the moment, but I mean, you win those games.
And also, we've seen other teams like Ohio State who are in similar positions and haven't been able to keep their composure in those moments.
Yeah.
Bottom line, you will find what's great with the team that you like, and you will overlook certain things because to you they're smaller. That is something we can all agree on.
Okay, so let me, if you're looking at this college football playoff and you're looking at Oregon specifically, what is their weakness?
What is Oregon's weakness? I'd say a true test. Their one true test have been Ohio State.
What about Boise
it's
State?
easy to say Boise State hindsight. You played Boise State that's like playing. Imagine people that played Illinois as the number 12 team in the nation early on, and then looking at Illinois now and saying, "Yeah, we fucking murder them." Your answer would be, no one gives a shit.
That doesn't make sense at all.
No one gives a
Illinois is
shit.
not in the top 12.
Try to understand my point. You played somebody that was ranked early on, and let me finish.
Okay.
And then now they're non-existent. How would you react to that? Well, yeah, they were good then. It's like, did you expect Boise State because they gave you a close game? Can you honestly say in the week 2 of college football that Boise State would have a bye and be in the college football
not at
playoff?
But I
So now you can I get it's hindsight. Now you can say that. Now you can argue that.
I wouldn't say that I would not have said that they are getting a bye, but I would have said that they're in the playoff.
Okay, sure. Let's count Boise State just for the sake of argument. Their 2 tests have been Boise State, a really good team should be a Heisman winner, but all of us would be lying sitting here if we think Boise State would run the fucking gamut and win the college football playoff. No, there's not that same fear. I feel like their one true test was Ohio State. And then the other games that you've won ranked Illinois, Michigan, who's beaten good teams, Maryland,
At the big
Wisconsin
house.
at the big house. So
I
I
thought
am
Wisconsin was
I
like
mean,
a sneaky
if-
tough
to
game
say-
in the circumstances with injured players and all that.
if
other
I'm
stuff.
finding a weakness, I'm finding a weakness in a true test. How would they look against Tennessee? How would they look against Texas should they play them? How would they look against Notre Dame? Like the teams that are expected to be good. That's my answer as far as weakness.
rising to the occasion.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I get what you're saying. I think you'd be hard to find a lot of other teams in the college football playoff who have more experience rising to the occasion.
And the Ducks have themselves a Heisman Trophy finalist, a Big Ten Player of the Year, AP Offensive Player of the Year in Dylan Gabriel. They're back to full force there with Tez Johnson. And then, their secondary, that was a big thing that you had an issue with last year, which they have solved a lot, especially through the transfer portal this upcoming
We'll see.
year. And I suppose we'll see. And that will be interesting, is that if everything comes back to, like, it will be sweet retribution for both Braxton and I, because if they end up winning, this we'll see or they haven't done it thing will be finally, I feel like we can get back to baseline here, because it's kind of one of those things where that's the trump card, right? We'll see if they can do it. If and when they do it.
Pretty good and fair trump card. I feel like.
Yeah.
And
You
they
can
better
complain
fucking do it. Good
complain
God.
about it all
Yeah.
you want.
Because I know Miguel will disagree, but if you just look at college football this year, I feel like it's hard to argue that across the board there is a better team than a team that's playing better than Oregon is. And most of the talking heads in the world agree. And that's I mean, they at the end of the day, they just need to fucking do it, dude.
Yeah.
It's like-
I'm so like, as much as I love doing this on the podcast and having this back and forth, like this year, it's like you got to just fucking do it, dude.
Yeah.
I'm sick of this.
You're almost like
Take a page out of Phil Knight's book and just do
you're
it.
almost
Yeah.
making it worse if like the points that you're making, because here's the deal. At the end of this, if Oregon wins the whole thing, and for almost 2 decades I've been like, they don't have a fucking championship. You can win the Rose Bowl all you want. Have it. That's fine. But there's a reason why we talk about certain teams the way we do, why we talk about the Georgias and the Alabamas, and when they win the whole thing. Even a shitty LSU team for the last couple seasons, we've seen them do it and be dominant, and they're regarded as that. They get the benefit of the doubt. Oregon wins the whole thing, I got nothing. Because they've been a consistently good team, and now they achieve they get
The
to the
thing.
fucking princess
They do the
beating
thing.
the dragon.
Yeah.
They do it. It's done. I have nothing. I can just hate them personally. I
Yeah.
can just dislike them personally. I can
it
disagree with
means
everything Oregon.
nothing.
But it means nothing. It's just a personal opinion. It's like you hating LeBron.
Yeah.
I'm just going to stick with that. But they lose. And there's nothing. It's back to square one. It's almost like you guys are sitting here saying there's no team rolling as much as Oregon. There's no team better than Oregon. There's no team that rose to the occasion as much as Oregon this season. And then they drop the ball.
Yeah.
And-
It's gonna
and
you
that's
won't
what-
hear from me for weeks.
It will be very
I
disappointing.
feel like that gives me more ammo than like the Auburn national championship,
Yeah.
than Jameis national championship. Because I will stick
No
to my guns
semifinals.
and think like I will stick to my guns and still go by the Mariota team that went, because that's the team that played against Jameis, right?
and beat them handily.
Yeah, they lost to Ohio State.
They lost to
Ohio State.
in the
I'm getting
championship.
Jameis mixed up.
Yeah.
Jameis fucked up.
The Jameis
Zeke,
one was where he like throws it backwards at the Rose
the
Bowl,
national
which was
championship, the
incredible.
Zeke Ohio State team, and fucking Braxton Miller or Cardale Jones, whoever it was.
Yeah.
I think both of them were on that.
That team, that Oregon team, it's the best team I've ever seen in Oregon.
Yeah.
That 2012, whatever, that is the best team I've seen in Oregon, collectively, top to bottom. Like, defense, and that's, like, look at who's in the NFL. That is the best. That team is better than this team. I will argue that all day.
The only, and I don't want to argue it, but the only thing I disagree with you is I do think that this defense is better.
No chance, dude. Didn't the fucking Mariota team have Eric Armstead?
Well, Eric Armstead was on the offensive line. They had DeForest Buckner.
Yeah.
Oh, Armstead was the tight end. Who am I thinking that was the end? The defensive end.
DeForest Buckner.
So they had Buckner. They had
in 2012.
not
they
Liar,
had,
like the fucking two linebackers.
Yeah, I mean they had.
Was that Clay Matthews?
No, that was in
played at
12.
Ohio State.
That was in 12. And then who was the guy who was drafted number 3 overall to Miami, who was a total bust?
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah,
What's his fucking name?
I can see his face.
There was not a weakness. There was not a
There
weakness.
was, though.
No. That Ohio State team was just that much better.
But to your point, Miguel, this is something you harp on so much with Oregon. They had a great front seven. They had no DBs.
In 2012?
Yes.
No,
not 2012.
2012 was fucking incredible top to bottom.
Yeah, 2012 was, and that was. So the 2012 team was Chip Kelly's first full cycle of recruits, which was great. I mean, like, top to bottom.
That was not, from what I remember, that was not a weak defense. Like in any position.
No,
I'm not
but it
saying
wasn't.
that it was.
It wasn't the size that it is now. I think particularly. I think that they were meant to be fast, but not huge. This is a fast and huge defense.
I'm not saying that defense was bad.
Deion Jordan.
Yes.
Yeah,
Deion Jordan.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying that was bad. I'm saying that this is better because the thing that Oregon's defense had at that time was speed. And they had the strength in the front seven. But now you have size, speed, and full 11 across the field.
Yeah.
Your DBs are incredible. And again, we're talking about small margins
The
here.
2012 team also absolutely annihilated other teams where it wasn't close.
Yeah,
Like, I get if you're comparing speed and size,
but you also had a Chip Kelly offense that was like mind-blowing and not known to anybody at that time.
I'm pretty sure if you pull up fucking the record from 2012, Oregon held teams to under 2 touchdowns in like 7 games. From what I remember, under 2 touchdowns.
They were great.
Several teams scored 7 or 10.
Right. And so here's the thing. So, like, yes, but once you got into the BCS championship game against Auburn, there was a serious concern about going up against an Auburn team which had, like...
Ohio State, this 12.
Oh,
I mean, the 12 team was significantly better than 10.
No, 12 is Auburn.
12 is Auburn. 15 is Ohio State.
Okay, then I'm only getting mixed up 12 and 15. Auburn was 10. Auburn was 2010.
Or 2010-11. Sorry, I think
Yes.
you're right. Sorry.
2010 was
10,
Auburn.
11.
I kept saying Ohio State was 12. So that's 15.
Yeah.
I'm saying the 15 team was better than 10. It's better than today. Overall. And you know what? You can shut this up if you win the whole thing.
And I know that, but that doesn't make this conversation fun.
I feel like, so when I went into the Auburn game, I mean, obviously, like, you had, like, who was Auburn's big guy who was really quick on defense? I can't remember his name.
Cam Newton, he played both ways.
Yeah.
Cam Newton's safety.
I feel like he ended up on the Colts or something like that. But, like, I was very concerned about the Auburn game. Obviously, with Cam Newton and that defense, how big they were.
Oregon could not stop Cam Newton.
No, I know.
No one in the college football
nobody in the country
planet could stop Cam Newton.
But the thing is that, like, I look at this year's team, and I feel good and confident about them beating any of these teams right now, especially with whatever has happened with Carson Beck and what appears to be like a UCL injury on his elbow, which might keep him out. Then all of a sudden, Georgia's got themselves Gunner what's his butt, and
I'm wondering if you both could see my
quarterback.
point on this. If you can get out of your bias and get out and see my point, like this is an unbiased take on college football. Is there a chance that you could see, if we dial back to 2015 teams and 2010 teams, when you get to a point where it's the best 4 or the best 6, there's still like some sort of a concern, because if a Mariota-led team who won the Heisman made it there, you're gonna run into like an Alabama or Ohio State or whatever.
Sure.
You think this confidence with Oregon this year is coming from the fact that the playing field is a little bit more evened out? Just like the point that you made earlier.
Yeah, probably.
And the SEC, it's no longer just Alabama and Georgia.
I think
they've been cannibalizing themselves, like you said, because now with NIL, with the transfer portal, maybe some injuries, which Oregon has had too. I know Tez Johnson is back. The playing field, there's not one that you fear. You've seen Ohio State go down. You've seen Alabama go down.
Yeah.
You've seen Georgia go down. Texas go down. You're not facing an undefeated Georgia, an undefeated Alabama, an undefeated Jameis Winston in Florida State, Ezekiel Elliott in Ohio State.
I think that contributes 1,000%.
I feel like it. I feel, if you're willing to admit that, this confidence coming from Oregon is the fact that there's not one that you're scared of anymore, because it's a pretty even playing field, and they're the best.
Yeah,
right now.
And they have a benefactor in Phil Knight, who has spent his life not just making shoes, but negotiating sports contracts, and has one of the biggest purses and most robust NIL deals out there.
Right.
Yes. I mean, like, if you're looking and saying, like, oh, who's trying to buy a championship? Oregon's one of those teams,
well,
but
and they're not ashamed of it.
But they're not. Yeah, they're doing it the
I don't give
the
a
right
shit
way.
about Phil Knight and Oregon buying a championship. Fucking everyone does that.
Yeah,
but there's not one team that you fear this year. It's a pretty even playing field. So I feel like,
but that's not because other teams have lost. That's because we win dominantly.
Other teams losing absolutely plays into it. What
Yeah.
are you talking about? Yes. That's what I mean. Like, the playing field is even. You've seen big teams lose. You are not
this
going.
is good.
Yeah.
Is there anything?
No.
I'm trying to
There's
understand your point. Is there anything wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with that. I'm saying, do you guys see that?
1,000%.
Your confidence with
but that's
Oregon.
the same for anybody.
Is it though?
We're just the team that hasn't lost.
Is it though? Because that goes to my next question. Great transition to my next question. Do you think there are non-Oregon fans going into this afraid of Oregon the same way that we would be afraid of Alabama?
No.
10 years ago.
so.
Yes.
No chance, dude.
I don't
Yes.
No fucking chance.
Yes.
No. That's your bias talking. The same fear that you have with an undefeated Georgia, with an undefeated Alabama, undefeated Ohio State, do you think that same fear exists today with Oregon?
Yes. I do.
I don't.
I don't.
I don't at all.
I don't. Unfortunately, I don't.
Why not?
That has nothing to do with my hate against Oregon. I don't think they're that team.
Because there's going to be people. Hold on. There's going to be people who will say, "Oh, they struggled against Idaho and Boise State, and oh, they only won because of a fluke, and because they gamed the system against Ohio State, and oh, they almost beat or they almost lost to Wisconsin." Blah blah. They're going to try and poke holes to mentally get themselves to a place where they're like. I don't think that like a 13-0 Oregon this year is like, oh my God, they're a super team. They're the most dominant thing. I think that like
that's
anyone,
not what I'm saying.
No, but I think that
It
there's
is,
a
though.
ton of people who can
What are you
convince
saying?
themselves that there is not a elite fear factor in this 13-0 team when everyone else has lost 3 games.
What
That's
I'm
all
saying is if you're maybe not like Ohio State, but if you're a Tennessee team or any of the teams, honestly, in the playoff, and you're thinking, oh, we have to face a 13-0 Oregon, if you're a fan, you're concerned about that. How is that? why wouldn't you be concerned about facing the only undefeated team in the nation?
There's not the same fear is all we're saying. Take this Oregon team that's undefeated in 2024. Compare it to Tua's Alabama. Do you have the same? That's all I'm saying. Do you have the same fear? Compare it to
It was.
It's
it's
but your
not the
original
same.
point was not same fear, but any fear.
Yeah, I don't think that fear
and
exists.
I disagree. How could you not?
Think about
Like
think about how you speak about these certain teams. Like, I'm not saying right now because your confidence is at an all-time high, but 6 weeks ago, you're like, I don't want to fucking play Ohio State again, because they have become that team. You know what I mean? Like, they have struck that fear into people. Oregon has not done that yet. Cool, you're 13-0 for the season. Let's see how you finish out. Oregon does not strike the same fear as the other teams we're talking about. They have not done that yet.
And I
I don't think people are afraid of them.
I will agree with that. They don't strike the same level of fear, but to say that people are not afraid of them at all is dumb.
I think there's a difference between saying that people are not afraid of them and people are saying, well, this is a good team, but there's enough of a confidence. Like, Tennessee could beat them. If you're a Volunteers fan, you're looking at, yeah, we'll play Oregon. I feel like we could beat them.
I don't think everybody's thinking that. And I'll give this to you. If I'm looking at this schedule and I'm whoever, I'm thinking, oh yeah, I'm more afraid of Georgia. I'm more afraid of Ohio State than I am of Oregon. Totally. I totally think that's fair. But to think that people are just like, Oregon, not a big deal, that's dumb.
I'm not saying they're a cakewalk.
I will say here are my and we need to move on. Is that we have a couple of things. We have our West Coast bias. We've seen this team. There is very much two things, an SEC bias and an East Coast bias. Those things very much exist. So the fact is that those teams who have had it their way and have had that confidence, whether it is overinflated confidence or anything like that, those two things exist in both the SEC and East Coast bias, to where I think that the nation as a whole is not as afraid of Oregon, and to Miguel's point that maybe there should.
Yeah,
But
I would
the West
agree.
Coast bias, I know you mentioned it. West Coast bias also exists.
Yes,
West
Yeah.
Coast
It-
bias
yeah.
absolutely exists.
for sure.
And I would
There's
agree.
more East Coast bias though.
I would agree more so if you were talking about fans. I think probably SEC fans are not concerned about Oregon. I think these SEC teams, Ohio State, I think all of the teams involved in the playoff are very concerned about Oregon.
Speaking of Matt Eberflus and the Bears, how about that performance by the Bears this past weekend? They got 2 yards in the first half, and then sometime in the third quarter they had 4 total yards. It was insane. But I was kind of thinking, I was like, do I be as much of a degenerate and bet on the Bears to actually this guy's cold, to actually perform well under an interim? Then I was like, but it's the Bears, so I bet on the 49ers to win that game.
Good choice.
Not bad. Not bad.
What
Kittle
were you
went
shushing about?
I did my own episode of Miguel's show,
Oh, yeah.
so you're just gonna have to wait.
The
and
Juan
listen to it.
Magoo Show.
It's a weird 15-second bit that really nobody wants to listen to, but you gotta keep it in.
To keep it into the NFC North, I'll tell you what, that Thursday night game, I don't want to reprise something that's going to be out a week after something happened, basically. But seeing the Lions win that game at home against the Packers, I was like, this is a Super Bowl team. And I know that's not a hot take, but it was just it was so, there was not a doubt, even though that game was so close. It felt like I was watching a Super
You know you
Bowl
have a
team.
bet against them, right?
Do I?
Against him.
Mm-hmm.
You took the Chiefs and he took the Lions.
Well, I thought that looked like a Super Bowl team.
Thank you.
But I also think that the Chiefs look like a Super Bowl team.
Thank you. Like, you're a part of the fucking team.
It was all
Thanks.
me.
We've worked really hard.
We have.
So-
I'd love to, not to interrupt our NFL talk here. But once we're finished with it, I would love to get like a recap of division winners, Super Bowl winners, where we're at right now.
Yeah.
Because we're 4 weeks away.
Are you trying to say like what are our odds here?
No, like what are our thoughts?
Oh, got it.
What are our picks?
My thought is the Niners will fuck us.
Yeah.
I think ultimately we were not concerned about them. We were concerned about Baltimore. We were concerned about Philly, and those teams they look like they're gonna figure it. I mean, the Steelers are still a worry, but I think the Niners are gonna fuck the bet.
Yeah.
And I'm saying regardless of the bet.
Yeah.
Like where are we at? But let's get through this week, next week.
Yeah. The Jags-Titans was a tough game to watch. No one wanted to look at that. Jets eliminated from the playoffs
Thank
once
God.
again. They have now overcome the Sabres as the team that has the longest playoff drought currently. So good for
Vinny
the New York-
Testaverde is rolling over on his grave. Is he dead?
No.
Okay, he's just pissed.
Pop quiz. Sabres. What city are they from?
Buffalo, New York.
That's true. Yeah. Did you guys see how Derek
I
Carr?
almost got you.
Yeah. You guys see
I
how
don't think you did.
Derek Carr got hurt this past weekend? It was one of the dumbest injuries I've seen a player. He is a quarterback. He is getting paid $40 million a year, and he's trying to fight for that first down, and not in just like a, whatever normal way. He's trying to hurdle guys. He ends up landing on his left wrist, fracturing his wrist. It was absurd. It was kind of like, it reminded me of when Jimmy Garoppolo was fighting for a first down when he was the quarterback of the 49ers. It was like, just go out of bounds, and you end up in a season-ending injury sort of situation.
Was Derek Carr season ending?
At this point.
I'd like to know when was the last time Derek Carr tried to hurdle somebody.
I mean,
Fresno State.
What's the time between?
you just saw Tatum do it, or Taysom Hill.
Yeah.
Taysom Hill do it, and he was like, "Oh, I could do that." It's like
Jason
no, you
Tatum
can't.
hurdled
Jason
someone?
You didn't see that in the Raiders
Jesus.
game?
The Panthers once again. Bryce Young, good, possibly.
Good for him.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see a Panthers quarterback not completely getting buried.
The Panthers have been competitive the last month, it seems like, ever since.
If Leggett didn't drop that
Yeah.
ball, they would have beat. I wouldn't have liked to see Philly lose, but holy shit, man. That was close. 6-point win.
Your game of the week was the Rams-Bills, that 44-42. I do have a MVP bet on Josh Allen. You think this is the year?
I do.
It has to. I mean, he's
especially after this game, surprisingly, from
they
a
lose
loss.
the game, but like he has 6 touchdowns, 52 fantasy points in that game.
Yeah,
I
the
don't-
most fantasy points in history.
who's the closest one to him? Lamar?
I don't know. I just saw a
Lamar,
Instagram
Mahomes,
post that basically
Saquon.
created the perfect fantasy team over all of NFL history.
Sure.
Jerry Rice had like 3 spots on there, and Josh Allen took that quarterback spot from Mike Vick. That's who it
If
was
you
from.
think about, like, there's no way that Josh Allen doesn't win the MVP because the gap is like, it's like a Travis Hunter, Ashton Genty gap right now in odds. But then the 2 closest ones are guys with multiple MVPs.
Yeah.
So because Josh Allen is performing so much better, they're not going to make a case for like, a Saquon MVP that's killing it. It's like Lamar's won 2. Mahomes has won what? 2? 1? They
2.
have to give it to Josh Allen,
Yeah.
which is well deserved.
It is.
You have, when you look at up and down, so next week we've got, who knows if the 49ers will, in fact, be the ones that screw us over. Divisional round between the Rams and 49ers on Thursday Night Football is going to be a fun game. 49ers at home. 49ers a 2.5-point favorite, although they get their guy, what was it, Guerrero or whomever? They're like
Garindo,
thank you.
It's Patrick Taylor now, 4th string, baby.
Yeah, I mean,
Patrick
it's just
Taylor.
like, come on, what is going on here? Brock Purdy has been in and out of injury as well. Kittle, I forget who said it, has been very good.
Rams are rolling, though.
Yeah. Rams, I mean, gosh, they're giving up, I guess, kind of that like half point there. So
I was
knows if
thinking
we're
last
gonna
night
wash.
about our first conversation with Wolf.
Walsh, yeah.
Yep. And how I was like, can we trust the Rams? Are the Rams going to be good? And he was just like, hard no. And I shouldn't have listened.
Well, it was
And then, I mean, like, they would probably be the division winners had it not been for some key injuries to both Kupp and Nakua.
Yeah.
I don't think that was like a bad take from his part. That was a hard no based on their current roster. Like if
they were dealing with a ton of injuries at that time.
If Kupp and Puka didn't come back, there's no way the Rams would even be close to the Bills.
Yeah.
Those two are fucking top 10 receivers in the league.
Yeah.
And quick side note, I don't know if you guys saw Puka Nakua's bit on Pat McAfee. Did you see this?
I just saw that he was getting in trouble for possibly not going. Oh, or were they talking about like a wristband?
Bracelets.
The bracelets.
You guys remember those like fighting bands?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You wear them in baseball, and then they had the wrist ones that had the little disc in them.
Yep.
And he was talking about how he was running a route in the middle of the game, and he looks back to Josh Allen to see if he's, throwing it. And he was like, and all of a sudden I just thought, whoever made those bands are fucking scammed us. He didn't say fucking Mormon guy.
Yeah,
but
whoever scammed you. And I think you meant Matthew Stafford, but either way. Was it Nakua?
Yeah, what did I say?
You said Josh Allen.
Oh, my bad.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah.
Puka playing DB?
Yeah, he was.
He should win the Heisman. Then.
Yeah. Thinking about other scams. So maybe next week we'll talk about other things that we were scammed on.
Every job I've ever had.
Life in general.
Yeah, the Oregon Ducks right now so far. We've been scammed every year.
Mortgages.
Yeah, mortgages are dumb.
Insurance.
Just home ownership. in
Apple
general.
products.
I went to the Apple store today. What a fucking
That's a fucking
disgrace.
Yeah.
scam.
What did you do there?
My headphones aren't working.
Oh,
Yeah.
what
Beats
a travesty.
Beats by Dre.
Oh, they don't beat. Beats by nothing.
Yeah.
Here's the thing,
Yeah.
though. I don't hate Apple. But if you're a
That's
person,
the kind of content you'll get at my stand-up, by the way.
I don't hate Apple, but if you are one of the people that hate Apple, you cannot ignore the fact that they're fucking geniuses. And they know how to approach the market. They know what will sell. The fact that they have AirPods as hearing aids is a goddamn genius idea.
Sure.
That's gonna sell
It's
so
funny
much.
that you bring that up. And we're going totally off course here. I'm sorry, but when we were at Jesse's, I was sitting on the couch watching the Oregon game by myself, and Jordan comes up and sits next to me, and that commercial comes on where it's the father sitting on the couch, and the daughter's like opening Christmas presents, and it's a guitar, and she starts playing the guitar and singing, but the sound is very muffled. You can hardly hear her. And the father turns on his AirPod hearing aids.
The mom puts it on him.
Yes. And all of a sudden, he can hear his daughter singing clear as day. And it's a beautiful moment.
Yeah.
And Jordan leans over and he says, I fucking hate this commercial.
Of course.
And I'm like,
course.
why?
That's genius in all departments.
Yeah.
It's a genius. It's genius for the people who made the product, and I feel like this is the one example where you're not overusing genius. Like, genius is the right word for this.
Yeah.
You made the product, and then the marketing department makes an incredible feel-good commercial to sell the shit out of that product.
Yeah.
I just want to be a part of that company.
Yeah.
I feel like that's where you get paid the big bucks, baby.
And I will admit, my experience with Apple today, very seamless and smooth. They solved all my problems.
Yes.
Because they're all robots. Robots don't make mistakes.
Also, possibly. When people go into an Apple store and like steal the iPhones from the
Dummies.
so stupid, right?
Dummies.
Like, that's not a working phone, and
You
they
know,
track that.
I was on the phone with Apple support today. You know how quickly they got into my phone?
Yeah.
It was one click.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay,
We're in.
we're screen sharing now.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
I know that is concerning, but that also works great when you get scammed. Because they are quick to
I
stop that
bet you
scam.
dealt with that. Have you seen the commercials now? There's literal commercials on Hulu that's like it's this woman going to the counter and being like, "Oh yeah, my boss asked me to get all these Apple cards."
Yeah.
And
Man, I feel so stupid.
and it's like
Hey,
Apple,
it's this guy.
and it's like your boss never asked you to get these. This is a scam.
Yeah.
I fell for that. And you know, I will eat that up. I will take full responsibility for getting got with that one. But I have to give credit where credit's due. The scammers are so much more intelligent today.
Yeah.
Because they not only do they have the right information that they pull from like your LinkedIn and your recent updates or anything. So it makes you not trust things more, which I get, ruin my fucking trust. But at the right time on like getting up for work, I mean, the stars just fucking aligned for this guy from
You started the job 2 weeks ago.
this guy from fucking Trinidad and Tobago that was at 3 a.m. working in the call center just fucking got me. But Apple was so quick. They were so quick to block all of that shit, and I made money from it.
You made money from
This week's episode is sponsored by Apple.
it. Don't say that. They will. They will not support that.
$1,000 in gift cards.
Yeah.
What they did
Quite a lot.
was I disputed it with my card, so I got the 1,000 from that, and then Apple reversed all the gift cards, and so I got 1,000 from that.
Oh.
So I got 1,000 for getting scammed.
You scammed back?
I mean, fucking, you gotta
The
fight fire with
reverse
fire,
scam?
baby.
The reverse scam? Who would have thought?
You don't want to scam me. I'll make money.
You pie me off, I pie you off.
Pie you off, bitch.
I don't know if it's a scam that the Chiefs are just a 4.5 point favorite over the Browns this weekend. I know that
The Chiefs can barely win.
I know the
they'll
Chiefs
win.
have barely won, but 4.5 against the Browns. I don't know.
Here's the thing with the
They
Chiefs.
did just win the division, so what's the point, right?
And the Browns, they cover every other week.
Here's the week. Yeah.
Did they cover last week?
No.
Yeah, not last week because I took them and I remember they lost.
but this is the week for them to cover.
But I don't want to dive into this like deep. I just want to make a point with the Chiefs and Mahomes. When we have these arguments about who they want to be regarded as the fucking face of the league. My problem with Josh Allen, my problem with Herbert, your problem with Burrow, whatever. Look at Patrick Mahomes and look at what's important. Why is Mahomes looked at, and arguably we all agree collectively that he's the best quarterback in the league, right?
Yeah.
You take his stats. He's like in the bottom half of the fucking quarterbacks. But his team has always performed. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. You know what you call those? Intangibles, baby.
Yes. That's what Kobe had.
Yeah.
That's what Jordan had. Mahomes, I'm not saying he doesn't give a fuck, but his stats aren't as good as Herbert,
No.
as Burrow, as fucking Josh Allen or Lamar.
Yeah, he's a middle of the road fantasy guy, if not somewhat disappointing.
I feel like he's like
Yeah, he's
19th in the
trash.
fucking league, but I mean, they have one loss. I even saw this stat that if you reverse every one score game,
Yeah.
the
I
Chiefs would
told
be
you
in the
this.
bottom of the fucking league.
Yeah.
But they just
They'd
find
have
ways
2
to win.
wins.
Yeah, they would. They find ways to win. I mean, the way they won against the Chargers with
They
the fucking
doinked it, yeah.
backup kicker hitting the fucking upright. Jesus Christ,
Honestly,
man.
what
Doink for the division.
Mahomes has, and honestly, the whole entire Chiefs organization, they kind of have this sexy indifference. Like, they don't. It's just like, meh, we're going to win. We know who we are. We know what we can do. We don't care who you are.
Yeah.
You can
And you've arrived, and they can say that they've arrived because people will hate you as a team. Like, I hate certain teams, other fans hate certain teams, but collectively the entire country hates the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
Outside of Chiefs fans, you've arrived when the entire country hates you. It's funny to think with the Dallas Cowboys. You arrived all the way up to 94. You haven't. I mean, you have left a long time ago.
Announced that you arrived for
But-
the last 30
But
years.
they still have that, people still look at them that way. It's still the Dallas Cowboys. It's like the same way that people hate the Yankees. You know what I mean? It's like the Chiefs have arrived. They have gotten there. Everyone hates them, and then you add Taylor Swift to the mix.
Sure.
They're like, I'm tired of watching these fucks. I don't. I like them.
Any big games to look ahead to next week?
Let's put in a bet. We've cleared some bets. Let's try to win some of the fucking money back that we paid out.
Well, maybe we can tie this into it.
I think that Bills, Lions, Steelers, Eagles
Pull up your DK, bro.
are going to be your biggest games of the
Oh,
week.
Bills Lions is going to be electric.
I mean, that one.
Take the over.
Take the over.
Take the over.
1,000%.
Over 80. Because that's probably a plus 1,700.
All right, so we're going to
While
build
he's
ourselves
pulling
a-
that up, like I said, I'd love to hear your guys' NFC AFC matchups.
Well,
For me, and this might be very similar for you guys.
I don't think it would be.
Lions Eagles, NFC,
Okay.
and I think Bills Ravens.
Oh, snap. I think that I would go chalk and just go with Chiefs and
Bills.
Raven. Or Chiefs and Bills, yeah. And then Lions,
Eagles.
That's my 4. But mostly because I have 2 tickets. I have a ticket at the casino that's going to die because it's tied to a Genty Heisman. So I place the same bet naturally without a college bet with just the AFC champion and the NFC champion. And I have Philly versus Kansas City. I have Philadelphia beating Detroit in the NFC championship. And I have Kansas City beating Buffalo.
All I know is that a Bills and Lions game in New Orleans would be incredible.
Like if you're asking
Two
me,
best
if you're
fan
asking me what I
down in New
want as a
Orleans.
football fan, I want Detroit versus Buffalo.
yeah.
I want Detroit
More
versus
so than Philly versus Buffalo?
yeah, because I've seen Philly in there.
Yeah.
I've seen Kansas City in there, but like,
Storylines
Battle of the
galore.
Blues.
Yeah.
but it also justifies like I am starting to understand and I'm starting to lean more towards the Josh Allen train. He is putting
Welcome aboard.
He is putting his team there consistently,
Toot, toot.
and for him to make it to the Super Bowl, I can finally put him in that position where like he's taken his team to the big game, and he's done it a lot, like scoring 3 touchdowns rushing.
Yeah.
He's taken his team to the big game, and I can finally separate him from Justin Herbert, which I would love to do. But as
Justin Herbert in a class of his own, apparently.
as a fan, Detroit Buffalo, the scoring, the anytime touchdowns. First of all, I would love to bet that as a gambling
Yeah, that
man
would
on
be a
Super Bowl
very
while
fun
we're
game.
in Mexico.
Yeah.
Holy fuck, that'd be an incredible
Yeah.
game.
What's the gambling situation in Mexico? We got to figure
I
that
don't know.
out.
I will fucking figure it out.
yeah.
But
We'd have to
For-
at least place the bets ahead of time.
for my ticket, I need it to be Philly and Kansas City.
Yeah.
That's like outside of a fan. Like I want it to be that because I placed the bet on that. Also, it's
Yeah.
hard for me to not see Kansas City there.
Now, speaking of bets, we have built a bet here for our illustrious listeners to bet with us.
Don't do it.
Right now, we
There's
have
5.
we have 5 bets. We have the Bills and Lions game to go over 54.5.
It's a lot.
It is a lot. It's the highest scoring of the weekend. We have.
Feel safe.
I mean, I think
That's 4 touchdowns each.
it's obviously going to be bet down into my teaser this week for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but nothing is ever safe. Nothing we put in this parlay is ever safe. But we're talking about teams like the Bills put up 44 or 42 last week. We've seen
you're right.
Detroit and Buffalo put up in over 40.
Yeah,
And they-
we went to a
and they
game where
both
88 points were
need to
scored.
win.
Yeah.
They both have very mediocre defenses. So I feel like that's more likely.
Okay.
54.5.
You sold me.
Chiefs are a 4.5 point favorite, but we're just taking the money line.
Feels safe.
Over the Browns.
Yeah, the Browns will cover.
Browns will cover, but they'll lose. Then we have the Commanders at minus 7.5. They're vying for a playoff spot. They've got the Saints have a backup quarterback,
I like you.
and even though that is in New Orleans, I just don't know what the Saints have to play for at this
Nothing.
point. The Cardinals do have a lot to play for, vying for the division. They're a minus 230 favorite. They are at home. The Patriots, Drake May has played well, but they're
The Cardinals need it more.
correct. Yeah.
And home
Liking
advantage.
this.
And then you have the Vikings at minus 6.5 and then there's the Bears. So yeah, I'm 1,000% on board.
You
with
like this?
Yeah.
Yep.
So this is sitting at plus 1387. So let's do 15 on that, 5 each.
5 each pays $223 total.
And then we can do another 5 on like a touchdown score.
Yes, let's do that.
Okay.
So
we're-
submit it.
So that one's in, and then we're going to do a touchdown scoring bet, in which, let me turn this on.
We should be using a boost on these, man.
Where's your boost?
Yeah, you don't have no
Pete?
boost,
I
bro.
don't got no
Talk to
boost,
Vin
bro.
Diesel.
Yeah. Let's see. You have Garendo is still on here.
No, that'll be voided.
Kyron Williams at minus 165 is on there for Thursday night
Without
football. We
looking,
might not have odds yet for everything.
without looking, if we pick 5 anytime touchdown scores, without looking, who are the 5 that you would take?
Derrick Henry,
Saquon.
Saquon.
We've got Jameer and David Montgomery.
I'd take Montgomery.
I'd take
I'd
both.
take Kyron Williams.
Yeah,
Kyron
Kyron
Williams is
Williams.
scoring.
Yeah.
So 4, and then 1 more.
Who are the Bengals playing this week?
I don't love that.
Yeah.
You don't
it
like
is.
Chase Brown?
I'm thinking of like 5 guys that score every fucking time. We have Saquon, Derrick Henry, Kyron Williams, and who?
David Montgomery.
Montgomery.
You have Panthers, Cowboys, Saints, Commanders. Oh, Bengals, Titans. Why wouldn't you want to take Chase
Brown.
on that?
Yeah, okay. I'm
Chase
good with
Brown.
that.
Yeah.
So can we get those 5, or is it not available?
If right now I'm getting the spinning wheel of death, that will be our bet regardless. How
Okay.
about that? So Chase Brown,
Derrick Henry,
Saquon, Kyron.
and Montgomery.
and
Montgomery.
Montgomery. Those
Okay.
are our 5.
So whatever that's sitting at, that's another $5 each.
Yep.
So we
All
have
right.
10 total for 2 bets.
We'll bet
10
that
each.
Anyways, we don't have enough time to talk about baseball, but baseball's dumb.
Fuck baseball.
Baseball sucks.
Yeah, the fact that Juan Soto got $765 million is insane. No one should have that amount.
Can we all agree that's fucking nuts?
It's very dumb,
Okay.
especially for a guy who's nowhere near the caliber of Shohei Ohtani, who got 700.
baseball.
Well, I'm glad we talked about it.
Yeah, a lot of baseball talk here on tonight.
That's why you raise your kids to be baseball players. Less strain on your body, you make the most money.
Baseball and golf, baby.
That's how you do it.
Speaking of kids, I will not be in stew next week and probably for the next several weeks.
For
weeks.
18 years.
For 18 years, I will not be in stew.
Braxton is very close to Babby, so we will be doing some remote work here. so.
I'm making it, or I'm having a child.
You're
I
you
already made it.
the child.
Yeah.
Show them your belly. Ready to come out.
Yeah, ready to go. Ready to go. Very
Baby on the
exciting.
way.
Very exciting. Your baby got a big old head and big old broad shoulders.
That's right.
Got to figure that whole
You
thing.
got to come on out.
So that's where we're at.
But I'm happy to be here with you guys. Fun episode. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
It's too early to say Merry Christmas.
Is it?
No. It's
We
not.
just had our Christmas party, so yeah.
But when all is said and done, clear eyes.
Dino.